someone weaponize arrogance in public, not realizing the person they're humiliating is the one holding the entire deal and their future in his pocket? Stay with me, because this night starts with a champagne glass and ends with a corporate system failure so loud the whole country hears it. You think you can crash my party? Victoria Hartwell's voice cracked like a whip across the ballroom, cutting through the jazz and chatter as cleanly as a blade through silk. Touch my champagne with those dirty hands? She yanked the flute from the black man's grip and reclaimed her own wine like she was pulling a crown off an imposter. My company is closing a $500 million deal tonight, and I will not let some ghetto rat ruin it. Then she threw the wine. A red arc through chandelier light, a splash across his face, dripping down his neck, bleeding into his white shirt like a stain she wanted everyone to notice. "This suit?" she jeered, flicking more drops at him. "Probably stolen, that watch fake. You don't even know what real money looks like." The man didn't raise his voice. He didn't step back. He just wiped his face slowly, deliberately, as if he were documenting every variable before deciding on next steps. "Ma'am, please," he said, calm enough to make the room even louder in its silence. "I was invited." "Invited?" Victoria stepped closer, finger jabbing his chest. "By who? Name one person here who would know trash like you. One name. Say it." 300 guests froze in a tight ring, phones already lifted, lenses eager, a sea of tuxedos and diamonds watching what they thought was a spectacle, until they realized they were watching a turning point. The question hanging in that air wasn't just who invited him. It was how far somebody could go when they were convinced the system would never hold them accountable. 45 minutes earlier, Daniel Torres had stepped out of a black Mercedes S-Class on North Michigan Avenue, cool October air pushing. Millennium Tower rose above him, like a vertical statement of power, 60 stories of glass. Light blazing in every window, a red carpet leading to gold-trimmed doors, where valets, planners, and security moved with the practiced choreography of high-end events. "Pick me up at 11, James Daniel told the driver. "Yes, sir." Daniel walked in alone. No entourage, no assistant, no security detail, just him, his leather soles clicking steady on the pavement, and a cream-colored envelope tucked in his inside pocket. The invitation was heavy stock-embossed gold letters. Annual Summit Gala, Fortune 500 leaders. Beneath it, in smaller type, hosted by Torres Venture Capital. His company, his event, his $250,000 sponsorship that made tonight possible. A valet rushed toward him. Daniel waved him off with a polite smile. He checked his phone. One new email from his CFO, Sarah Carter. Subject: Hartwell Industries final contract review preview text. All terms agreed. $500 million infrastructure investment. Ready for signature. Howard Hartwell Sr. confirmed attendance. Daniel slid the phone away. 5 years of negotiation, dozens of meetings, background checks on every Hartwell executive, due diligence reports, stacked like reference manuals in his office. The numbers were clear. Hartwell Industries needed his money to expand their infrastructure arm or face insolvency within 18 months. He had leverage, and he'd planned to use it, not to crush them, but to force real reform. Clean governance, accountability. A culture that didn't treat people like disposable parts. He stepped through the doors into a marble lobby washed in chandelier light and old money polish. A string quartet played, notes ringing off stone walls like a polite hum in a data center. "Good evening, sir," the coordinator at the registration desk said with a practiced smile. Name tag, Rebecca Walsh. Daniel Torres. She tapped her tablet, eyes widening. "Mr. Torres, of course. You're our primary sponsor." Lightly. "Just here to support the hospital and meet a few partners. The Children's Hospital thanks you. Ballroom is on the 60th floor. Cocktail hour is underway. He took the program and rode the elevator alone. It rose smooth and fast, hidden speakers piping soft jazz, brass doors reflecting his face back at him. 42, black Latino, first-generation college graduate, built his venture firm from the ground up 15 years ago, now overseeing $3.2 billion in assets across tech, infrastructure, and real estate, owner of 40% of this very building. The doors opened onto the ballroom, 300 guests in tuxedos and gowns that could pay off mortgages, servers threading through with champagne and hors d'oeuvres, deal-making murmurs under million-dollar chandeliers. Daniel recognized faces from Forbes covers, keynote stages, Senate hearings. Near the bar, a laugh rang louder than the rest, sharp and commanding, pulling attention like a magnet. Victoria Hartwell, 38, Vice President of Strategic Partnerships at Hartwell Industries, daughter-in-law of the founder, known in the reports for closing deals and leaving scorched earth behind her. Cream gown probably worth 50 grand. Diamonds at throat, wrists, ears. Blonde hair pulled back tight. Posture screaming entitlement. Her circle of friends, white, wealthy, entertained, hung on every word. Daniel caught a line as he passed. And then I told them, if you can't afford our rates, try a company that values diversity over quality. Laughter erupted. A few guests shifted uncomfortably. Nobody pushed back. Daniel moved toward the bar, took a flute from a passing tray. Then a familiar voice broke through. Daniel, Michael Carter, his business partner of 10 years, Asian American, calm but observant, slid over with a tightening expression. She's been herself. Made a crack earlier about affirmative action, hires wrecking corporate culture. A few people walked out. Slowly. He'd seen the HR complaints. 12 former employees. 7 mentioned Victoria by name. All mysteriously vanished before HR could act. He felt the weight of that in his chest. The way you feel a structural defect in a design you didn't create but now have to decide whether to prop up. We'll give it an hour, Daniel said. Then we can talk terms with whoever's left. Excuse me. A hand reached past his shoulder and took his champagne. Daniel turned. Victoria stood in front of him, smile tight, eyes cold. I don't think you're supposed to have that. Daniel looked at her hand, on the glass blood-red nails, diamond ring catching light like a weapon. I'm sorry. Champagne is for guests, not staff. Michael stepped forward. Victoria, this is... She lifted a palm without looking at him. Michael, I'm handling this. You can go back to networking with people who actually matter. Her friends circled closer like they smelled blood. Daniel kept his voice low and even. Ma'am, there's been some confusion. I'm a guest. Victoria laughed hard, brittle. A guest? Really? And who exactly invited you? Daniel stayed quiet. He could have ended it by lifting the invitation, by calling the coordinator over, by naming the foundation. But he didn't. Something in him wanted to see the full failure mode before intervening. The way you'll let a faulty process run just long enough to confirm the root cause. Name them, she pressed. Go ahead. Silence. Not that's what I thought, she said, turning to her group. They don't even train these people to lie anymore. Bradley Hartwell stepped in. Thick neck, expensive cologne and whiskey, CFO swagger. Look, friend, this event's invitation only, exclusive. If you leave quietly, we'll forget this happened. I appreciate the concern, Daniel replied, but I'm where I'm supposed to be. Jennifer Ashton, PR director, already lifting her phone, locked eyes with Daniel like a hawk. Victoria recovered fast. Because we catch them at the door. You must have slipped through, followed someone in. She circled him like a critic searching for flaws in a prototype. Your suit, Brioni, please. I can spot a knockoff from across the room. That stitching is awful. It wasn't. His suit was custom-tailored in Milan. His watch wasn't fake either. It was a Patek Philippe inherited from his grandfather, worth more than Bradley's car, and carrying a history Bradley could never buy. "Where'd you get that invitation?" Victoria snapped. "Show me." Daniel reached toward his jacket, fingers touching the envelope. Then Victoria snatched it first, tore it open, scanned it with an exaggerated sneer. "Fake. Anyone can print on cream paper." Bradley squinted. "The font looks right, but look at him," Victoria cut in. "Does he look like he belongs at a $50,000 a seat event?" Daniel's eyebrows lifted just slightly. What exactly am I supposed to look like? The question landed hard. You could feel half the room hold its breath. Victoria's mouth opened, closed. She knew the trap and stepped around it with a smirk. Professional, established, someone with actual credentials. Daniel nodded slowly, like a professor letting a student talk themselves into a corner. Credentials like what? A community college degree? A participation trophy? Jennifer laughed, covering her mouth. "Sorry, that was just accurate." Victoria turned out to the crowd. This is what's wrong with society. Standards mean nothing. Quality means nothing. We're supposed to let anyone into our spaces because of some misguided sense of. She stopped before saying the word diversity, but the room heard it anyway. Michael pushed through, jaw tight. "Victoria, stop. Or what?" She laughed. "You'll report me, Michael. Your firm makes what? 20 million a year. My family's company does 2 billion. I could buy your whole operation with pocket change. This isn't about money." Michael said. Victoria's eyes flashed. Money equals power equals access. She grabbed a fresh wine glass from a passing tray. And this man has none of that. Daniel watched the glass angle, watched her shoulders square, and knew exactly what she planned to do. "Ma'am," he said quietly, "please don't." "Don't what?" She stepped close. "Expose fraud? Protect the integrity of an event my company helped sponsor?" "Your company helped sponsor?" Michael's voice jumped. "Are you serious?" "We bought a table," Victoria said proudly. 50 grand. Unlike some people who probably found a torn ticket in the trash. The wine left the glass in a red sheet. It hit Daniel's face and collar, soaked his shirt, slid down the front of his suit. Cold as a winter spill. Smelled like cherries and oak. Victoria kept pouring until the glass was empty, then grabbed another and flung it. "Maybe now you'll learn where people like you belong. Serving drinks, not drinking them." The ballroom went dead silent. Even the quartet stopped mid-note. Daniel stood there, wine dripping from his chin, his suit ruined, his grandfather's watch speckled red. He wiped his face slowly, like he was logging evidence. "You done?" he asked. Victoria's chest heaved. "I'm just getting started." "Security!" 2 private guards pushed in, built like linebackers. "This man crashed the event," Victoria barked. "Remove him, arrest him, blacklist him from every venue in Chicago." The lead guard, Frank Morrison, approached with cautious authority. "Sir, I'm going to need you to come with me." "Of course," Daniel said calmly. "You're doing your job." Victoria sneered. "Don't be understanding. You should be begging. You assaulted us with your presence." Bradley stepped up beside her. "Our lawyers will be involved." "Your lawyers?" Daniel smiled for the first time. Interesting. As Frank led Daniel down the marble hallway, Victoria followed loudly, making sure every phone caught her victory lap. "Let everyone see what happens." "Infiltrate spaces you don't belong in," Jennifer filmed. "This is going on company socials. Corporate excellence defended." Guests whispered, but did nothing. The video was online before the elevator doors even shut. In the security office on the 59th floor, beige walls, fluorescent hum, coffee and cleaner smell, Frank pulled up the guest list, while Victoria paced behind him like a malfunctioning alarm. "Call the police," she demanded. "I need to verify first." I am the protocol. Bradley blocked the doorway. Jennifer kept recording. Daniel sat in a plastic chair, wine-stained but composed, hands folded like he was waiting for a test result. Frank's finger stopped on the screen. Found it. Found what? Victoria snapped. His name, Daniel Torres, Table 1, primary sponsor. Silence hit like a dropped breaker. Victoria recovered with a cruel laugh. He hacked your system. Ma'am, I don't care. Daniel offered his ID. She called it fake. Frank ran a check. Clean record, valid license. Rebecca Walsh and Michael entered, confirming Daniel's identity and donation. Victoria refused reality anyway, clinging to her judgment like a dying brand. Then Bradley's phone rang. Dad. He answered, went pale, and Victoria snatched the phone to speaker. Howard Hartwell Sr.'s voice filled the room, rough with fury. Victoria, is Daniel Torres there? Oh, yes, she said, suddenly small. Put him on. Daniel took the phone calmly. Good evening, Mr. Hartwell. A pause, then a tired exhale. I just watched the video. My daughter-in-law threw wine on you. That's correct. Jesus Christ. Are you hurt? My suit is ruined. My pride is intact. I'm coming up. Monday's deal, Howard's voice sharpened. Victoria. Monday was the day I was supposed to sign the biggest deal in our company's history with Daniel Torres, the man you just humiliated on camera in front of half of Chicago. No, she whispered. Yes, Daniel said simply. Howard arrived minutes later, suspended Victoria and Bradley on the spot, apologized to Daniel, and asked what charges she faced. Police arrived and read the situation for what it was. Assault on video, attempted false report, racial motivation. The story detonated nationally overnight. The $500 million deal evaporated. Hartwell's stock cratered. Boards panicked. Law firms mobilized. And in the middle of it all, Daniel Torres didn't yell or gloat. He did what engineers do when a system reveals a fatal flaw. He stopped feeding it. He pressed charges. He filed suit. He made the consequences scale to match the harm. Months later, the verdict landed guilty. The civil damages were massive. The corporate empire collapsed under the weight of its own protected rot. Daniel used his platform to build a foundation that gave legal backing to people who never get a camera when they're profiled, humiliated, or pushed out. And the lesson echoed long after the wine dried. Accountability isn't revenge. It's redesign. It's making sure the next person doesn't get treated like a defect to be removed from the room. If you've ever seen discrimination happen in real time at work, at a conference, anywhere people think status makes them untouchable, then you already know why this story matters. Because it wasn't exceptional that it happened. It was exceptional that the person in the crosshairs had the leverage, the receipts, and the nerve to force the system to answer for itself. So ask yourself, if you were in that ballroom, would you have kept filming in silence, walked away, or spoken up before a whole company had to learn the hard way that racism has a cost? And sometimes that cost is everything.